Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. And, I've been doing these Morning Musings for a little while, and I've asked for your suggestions for me to answer your questions or to, to address certain scriptures or what have you. I've got to tell you, I've received an awful lot of suggestions, really good ideas, and I'll try to get to some of those in ensuing segments. I wanted to address one particular email that I received. Let me read it to you. I'll simply say this is from, quote, Chris, unquote. And he says, quote, "I'm new to the study of preterism, so my question arises out of that. This is one of the major issues preventing me from accepting full preterism. If all prophecy is fulfilled, how do you explain the existence of pain, tears, death, grief, crying, and the like? Revelation 21, 3-4 seems clear that those won't be present once all is fulfilled. Can you explain the presence of pain, grief, death, and the like without coming off like you're doing some extreme Bible gymnastics to prove your point? Like I said, I'm new to this. I am asking out of a seeker's heart and not out of some desire to cause contention. If I can get an adequate answer to this question, I'd be very likely to accept full preterism. As for myself, I now consider myself an Amil partial preterist for obvious reasons." Lots of laughter. Chris, number one, we really appreciate the question. This is a very legitimate question, and I have to tell you, in my own journey to the full preterist view, I had the identical question. Lots and lots of people have this. In order to properly answer that, let's focus on one particular issue, and that's death. You see, we normally approach passages like this with a basic presupposition. Well, it's talking about death. Okay, I see people dying all the time, therefore this passage is not fulfilled. But you see, in order to properly interpret Revelation 21 and 22, we have to understand the nature of the death. We have to properly define death. In order to do that, we have to go back to the garden. When God told Adam and Eve, "In the day that you eat, you will surely die," ask yourself the question, did they die biologically that day? Now, biological death is the spirit leaving the body. The body without the spirit is dead. James chapter 2, 24-26. Now, it's real obvious, it seems to me, that Adam and Eve did not die biologically that very day. Now, what they did experience that day was separation from God. What's interesting to me is that virtually everyone admits and acknowledges that Adam and Eve did experience spiritual death, i.e. alienation. They were separated from God that day. They were cast out of the garden, Genesis chapter 3. So, when we understand that the death of the garden was spiritual death, i.e. loss of fellowship, when we understand that the story of eschatology is about the restoration of the life that was lost in the garden, then when we see that Revelation 21 and 22 says, in this new garden, and that's what Revelation 21, 22 depicts for us, here's this tree of life. Where's the tree of life? It's in the garden of God, right? So, Revelation 21 and 22 provide for us the restoration of the garden, the restoration of the life that was lost, the overcoming of the death that was introduced. Since the death that was introduced was spiritual death, then when Revelation tells us that there's no more death, that means inside the city there is no more separation from God. And thus the no tears, no pain, no sorrow, etc., all being directly related to that kind of death. You see, you misidentify the death in Revelation, or if you misidentify the death in the garden, and your eschatology is completely wrong. The psalmist said, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Psalms 11, verse 4. Well, if we start in the wrong place, i.e. the wrong foundation, if we start in the wrong place with the wrong kind of death as the foundation of our eschatology, then our eschatology, the overcoming of the wrong kind of death, will be focused on the coming in of the wrong kind of resurrection. No, the death of the garden was spiritual. The resurrection, the restoration of life, Revelation 21, is the restoration of spiritual life, of fellowship between God and man. Well, I hope that helps, Chris. Thanks so much for your suggestion. And folks, those of you who are watching my morning musings, keep sending me your emails. I'll do my best to get to them. I'm continuing to share with you my journey to the full preterist view, but I certainly want to address your wonderful questions, your sincere questions, because you too are on a journey, just like Chris. Hope this has helped. Thanks for joining me for this morning's musings. We'll see you in the morning.